What is an impeachable offense? History tells us that even though the Constitution says high crimes and misdemeanors, that an impeachable offense need not be a crime or a misdemeanor, at least not in any federal or state criminal code. In crafting the impeachment clause, the framers were concerned with abuse of official presidential power. To them, the high in high crimes and misdemeanors meant abuse of official power. When you think about it, the framers gave us a couple examples, and they're not the worst crimes like murder. They are treason and bribery, traditionally thought of as huge abuses of official power. In the past, both presidents and judges have been impeached for abuse of power. So we know that a crime is not necessarily required, but it probably helps. As hard as it is to imagine, not all crimes are impeachable. For example, the framers probably didn't intend that jaywalking or something that is uniquely personal and not an abuse of power would be an impeachable offense. The Clinton impeachment involved somewhat different facts. In that case, the Starr report was provided directly to Congress. In this case, for example, there are several different committees of Congress that are all conducting investigations of the president that could reveal impeachable material. The Clinton impeachment involved only the House Judiciary Committee, but today, 3 committees are investigating President Trump's conduct for potentially impeachable offenses. When it comes time for a vote, only a majority is required to impeach the president. But impeachment is not conviction and it's not removal. All that means is that it's an accusation. From there it goes to the Senate, where a 2/3 majority is required to convict and ultimately remove a president. The degree of due process that the president gets in these situations is really unclear. And the House has a lot of say, at least in the early stages, as to how involved the president's attorneys and his team can be. If impeached and tried in the Senate, however, the president's legal team will be permitted to be involved, just as Clinton's legal team was involved in his trial in the Senate.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.